A neuroscientist spent 15 years with his dog. Every morning, every walk, every quiet evening on the couch. 15 years of a life shared so completely it stopped feeling like a choice. It just was. And then his dog died. And in that silence, holding his dog's still body, he realized something that broke him open. He had no idea if any of it was real. Did his dog actually love him? Or was he just the person who opened the cans? That question consumed the next decade of his career. It sent him into brain scanners, research labs, and a maze that would change everything we thought we knew about dogs. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what is happening inside your dog's brain when they look at you. And I promise you, it is more than you hoped for. His name was Gregory Burns. Neuroscientist, professor, the kind of person who measures things for a living. His dog's name was Newton, a pug. 15 years of couch sessions and morning walks, and the particular way Newton would press his warm body against Burns' leg while he worked. And then Newton's spine gave out. His back legs stopped working. And on the last day, Burns held him and watched him take one final snort of air and go still. In that silence, a question formed that Burns could not shake. Did Newton know me? Not my name, not my job, but me. Did any of it register? We're going to answer that question. But first, let me show you something that might already be stinging. You know that feeling. You are standing in your own home. You do everything: the feeding, the walks, the vet appointments, the 2 a.m. water refills. And your dog, loses their mind over someone who forgot to buy food this week. It stings in a way that's oddly hard to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it. Here's why it happens, and it's not what you think. Most people believe dogs bond with whoever feeds them most, whoever gives the most treats, whoever shows the most affection. Wrong. Or at least wrong about the part that matters. Your dog isn't tallying treats. They're tracking something far more subtle. Predictability. The person whose behavior is most consistent, who responds the same way most of the time, not perfectly, but reliably, becomes the person your dog's nervous system files under one category. Safe. And safety for a dog is not passive comfort. Safety is permission. Permission to relax. Permission to stop scanning the room for threats. Permission to play. Permission to be fully a dog. Your dog doesn't bond hardest with whoever loves them most. They bond with whoever they can read the fastest. Steady voice, readable body language, no sudden mood shifts. Your dog is a fluency machine, drawn magnetically toward the person whose signals are clearest. And here's where it gets deeper. If your dog had that person, that steady, readable, predictable person during the first 6 months of life, that signal isn't just strong, it's foundational. It's the template. Every bond that comes after is measured against it. Now, let me show you what this looks like when you put it under controlled laboratory conditions, because this finding sounds small, and then it doesn't leave you alone. A team at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna brought dogs into an unfamiliar room. They gave them a problem, a manipulative toy, the kind where you nudge or paw something open to get a treat. Not complicated. Then they changed one variable. Just one. Who else was in the room? When the dog's owner sat nearby, not helping, not speaking, not doing anything, just there, the dogs worked longer, tried more strategies, stayed engaged. When the owner left and a friendly stranger sat in the exact same chair doing the exact same nothing, the dogs slowed down, lost interest, gave up faster. Researchers call this the secure base effect. It's borrowed directly from human infant psychology. A baby will not explore a new room if their parent isn't nearby, not because the parent is doing anything, but because the parent's presence does something to the baby's nervous system. Your dog's favorite person is, at the deepest level, the person whose presence makes them brave enough to engage with the world. You don't have to do anything. Sitting on the couch counts. Now, you might hear all of that and think, okay, so my dog's favorite person is basically a security blanket. Familiar, comfortable, maybe a little boring. But here's where it gets strange, because this bond isn't just behavioral, it's chemical. And the chemistry behind it is something dogs appear to have developed, specifically during domestication, to use on us. And we have the wolf data to prove it. A team at Azabu University in Japan brought dogs and their owners into a room. Let them just be together. 30 minutes of petting, talking, sitting close. The ordinary texture of a shared life. Before and after, they collected urine samples from both the dogs and the humans. Awkward. But the data was extraordinary. They were measuring oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical that floods a mother's system during skin-to-skin contact with her newborn. Here's what they found. Dogs who spent more of those 30 minutes gazing into their owner's eyes had significantly higher oxytocin afterward. But it wasn't one direction. The owner's oxytocin spiked too. The dog's gaze triggered the human's chemistry. The human's softened behavior, the voice change, the reaching out, triggered the dog's chemistry back. A loop, running both directions, getting stronger every single time it fired. Now, here is the detail that stops everything. They ran the exact same protocol with hand-reared wolves. Wolves raised by humans from birth, comfortable with people, familiar with human presence. The wolves did not hold sustained eye contact with their handlers, and no oxytocin loop activated. Not in the wolves, not in the humans. Nothing. This mechanism, this mutual gaze loop, does not exist between wolves and people. It does not exist between dogs and strangers. It evolved specifically in dogs during domestication. And it targets the exact chemical system that bonds a parent to a child. Let that land for a moment. Your dog didn't learn to love you. They evolved to. And every time they look at you and hold your gaze for just a beat longer than they need to, that system is running. Now, back to Gregory Burns. After Newton died, Burns adopted a shy, skinny terrier mix from a shelter. Her name was Callie. And then he did something no researcher had ever done before. He trained Callie to lie completely still inside a functioning MRI scanner. Awake, unrestrained, no sedation, so he could watch her brain respond to the world in real time. Callie was the first. Eventually, the project grew to over 100 dogs. In 2016, his team ran the experiment that would finally answer the question Newton left behind. 13 dogs were trained to associate one object with food and another object with verbal praise from their owner. The brain scans showed that in the majority of those dogs, the caudate nucleus, the brain's "something good is coming" center, responded to their owner's praise with equal or greater intensity than it did to food.
Then came the maze. 2 paths. One led to food, the other led to their person. 20 trials each. Most of the dogs went to their person, not all, but most. And the brain scans predicted it perfectly. The dogs whose caudate lit up brighter for praise were the exact same dogs who chose the human over the food bowl. Trial after trial after trial. And then there was Ozzy. Ozzy, a short-haired terrier mix, chose food every single time. 20 for 20, no exceptions, zero hesitation. Burns said publicly, and with a completely straight face, Ozzy was a bit of an outlier, but Ozzy's owner understands him and still loves him. Every dog runs this calculation differently. Some are Aussies, most are not. Now, I want to talk directly to some of you, because I know why some of you clicked this video. You suspect, or you already know, that you are not your dog's number one, and your dog still goes to someone else first. I need you to hear this, and it comes from the research, not from me trying to manage your feelings. The secure base data shows that the person a dog orients toward most is not always the person who does the most. It's often the person whose nervous system most closely matches their own. A nervous dog gravitates toward the calmest presence, even if that person forgets to fill the water bowl. An anxious dog attaches to whoever is most predictable, not whoever is most loving. That is not a judgment of your effort. That is a nervous system finding a frequency it can read. And if your dog bonded with someone else during their first critical months, that wiring goes deep. You didn't fail. You arrived after the foundation was already set. But here is what the Vienna research also tells us. The secure base effect is not permanent. Dogs shift their primary attachment when routines change. When someone new becomes the steady, quiet, predictable presence, not through grand gestures, through showing up, again and again, in ways the dog's nervous system learns to count on. You are not losing a contest. You are building a foundation. It took a decade, 100 dogs in brain scanners, a terrier mix named Callie, a maze, a neuroscientist who couldn't let go of a question. And the answer, from the caudate nucleus data, from the gaze loops, from the maze, from every study that followed, is yes. Your dog knows you. Not your name, not your job. Your scent, your rhythm, your nervous system signature. They carry you in their brain, the way you carry them in yours. That is not a metaphor. That is what the scans show. If this changed how you see your dog, share it with someone who loves theirs. They need to hear this. And tell me in the comments, what is the quiet, specific moment you realized who your dog's person truly was? Not the obvious stuff, the weird, small, particular thing. I read every single one.